Radio, a podcast produced by Winding Trails Media for writers by writers.
Writers, agents, and publishers, for the first time since the Gutenberg Press, find themselves lost in a maze of mystery as technology alters the shape of the publishing industry. Searching for Answers is a group of writers throwing pop culture, writing, and publishing into a crucible of clarity, passion, and humor. This group is the Write Pack.
Welcome back to Write Pack Radio. This is your host and producer, David Allen Lucas, author of Crazy Things, president of St. Louis Writers Guild, and executive producer at Winding Trails Media. Currently working on some projects, and you'll hear about those at another time. And with me today is my lovely co-host.
Hi, I'm Kathleen Kayembe. I write paranormal romance under the pen name Kaseka and Vita. I run Amherst Writers and Artists writing groups in St. Louis, Missouri, and I have short stories forthcoming from Lightspeed and Nightmare magazines.
Yay!
Yay! Congratulations.
Yay! Also with us today is
Brad R. Cook, author of The Iron Chronicles, which is YA steampunk. I also have written A Clockwork Heart, which is a short story. And I'd like to thank everyone for coming out to my book launch, which apparently was like a day ago.
See, we get to play Doctor Who in a certain amount of way. We're always traveling in time when we're recording these.
But
so
Iron
I guess
Lotus,
we get to thank.
yes, Iron Lotus, the third in the trilogy, has now hit the shelves. You can pick it up, and it's awesome. So check it out.
It's kind of surreal to be saying that it's out already, isn't it?
It is. Even now, just days away from when it should be out.
In real life, yes.
Yes.
And also with us today is...
my name is Jennifer Stolzer. I'm a children's book author and illustrator. You can find my picture book, Dog Park, for sale on Amazon. And hopefully you'll be able to pick up Threadcaster, my fantasy novel there, in about 6 months, we'll see. Gotta get through all the editing process and get it all polished and nice, but I'm well on my way, so keep an eye out.
Excellent. And also with us today is...
I'm Melanie Lucas.
Yay.
Okay, and yes, Kathleen, thank you for just smiling.
I'm just being good, okay? I didn't say anything.
I write science fiction, fantasy, and nonfiction, and one of these days I'll get to it for more than 20 minutes in a week.
20 minutes is better than no minutes.
That's true.
We're still getting our lives together now.
Yeah.
And also with us today is...
Fedora Amos. I write Victorian whodunits like Jack the Ripper in St. Louis, and my newest one, which is Mayhem at Buffalo Bill's Wild West. I am also vice president of Greater St. Louis Sisters in Crime.
Yay.
And I'm George Soroy. I write science fiction for the young adult reader. My books Excelsior and From Parts Unknown are both available on Amazon. Excelsior is available in paperback, audiobook, and ebook, and From Parts Unknown, the complete 5-part serial, is available in ebook only. I'm also the vice president of the Missouri Writers Guild, and I look forward to seeing all of you at the Missouri Writers Guild Annual Conference in Columbia, Missouri, May 5th through the 7th.
Yay!
Yay!
Get another Jen.
And this week we're going to talk about the most important thing for writers. Gifts for writers! This is gift-giving season!
Oh,
Not
God.
writer's gifts.
This
but
is
gifts
like
for
what my
writers.
little siblings think when they see me and my other siblings who are old enough to get them stuff. They're like, hey, presents! I mean, Kathleen.
Yeah, well, you know.
Things that have happened.
Yeah. Not talking family drama here. Okay.
Don't worry, every grandmother knows exactly how you
Well,
feel.
I think we should start off with the greatest gift of all, which is to buy our books.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
No. That's the second greatest gift. The first greatest gift, I'm going to disagree with you. First greatest gift is share our books with your friends and tell them how good it is to read.
Amazon reviews are always welcome.
Yes.
Especially if you don't have the same last name.
Those are all financial related, like financial gifts that are great.
Pays
But like,
bills.
I think we should talk about emotional gifts too. Like support
Oh,
the
we will.
writer in your life
Yes.
emotionally, and not be like, you'll never make any money at that. Why don't you go be an accountant? Why couldn't you just be a lawyer, sweetie? That's all I wanted was a lawyer as a daughter.
You can consider this Kathleen's audition for my
I was. You know that. Well, I know our audience can't see me right now. I literally turned my head so I can only listen to her rather than watch her. I'm like, okay, so what roles have I got open right
You just
now?
got 3 roles. Yeah.
Seriously.
Nice.
Okay.
One way of supporting the writers in your life, if they can, qualify for a job, give them a job so they can, write on their other time.
Which actually I'm going to throw out there then. One great gift. And by the way, first off, to our audience out there, yes, you can Google gifts for writers. There's some good ones out there. There's
Some hilarious ones.
some
out
hilarious ones out there. Yes, like the gift of vengeance. Sorry, I know you'll get to that one in a minute, but
there. It was not as cool as I thought. So
yeah, but
Vengeance
also
never
too,
is.
think if you were a writer, which is what most of our, about 90% of our audience are, think of the things that you would like to receive. So add to our list. Feel free to post on our Facebook and Twitter and so forth, and tell us more. But one of the things which I'm going to give, one of the things which I would say, especially from non-writers to us writers, give us, first off, a space to write. And second off, give us something along the lines of a sign that says, do not disturb, writer at work. And then thirdly, obey that sign. We love you to death, but it's a sad thing. We need to put ourselves into that time to write, because if we don't write, we don't write, and there's nothing coming in. And we slowly go mad.
So spouses, kidnap the children, take them to Disney World for a weekend, and leave your writer at home.
Exactly.
I actually want to start off by throwing out a special gift for all of you, our listeners, and this is an actual free gift for all of you listeners and for pretty much everyone here. One thing that constantly plagues a writer. I know I can definitely speak for myself, and I'm sure I can speak for a lot of you, a lot of the group here, is distractions.
Yes.
So with that in mind, I came across a wonderful, wonderful website that allows you a distraction-free, minimalistic text editor that is called typewriter.com. And it's spelled typwrittr.com. And what that is it basically, it gives you some very nice, fun, inspirational backgrounds with a text box right in the middle that you can use, that you can always, that will constantly update and everything as you go to your own little cloud-based account. And it will also be able to maximize so that it covers all of the internet boxes that are around you, so that way you're not constantly switching from one tab to another. It's completely out of sight, out of mind. Here is your screen, there is your fun little background and everything. You just type, and it will keep on saving. Yes.
It saves it in the program that you're typing in. That it's not like you're putting Word up in front of you
Right.
and saving into Word. So
Yeah,
it's okay.
Yeah.
It's a cloud-based.
Yeah,
Mhm.
very interesting.
So it's the holiday season, so to throw out gifts to get writers, I'm going to throw out some of my favorites that
Please.
I hope one day to be blessed with, even if I have to pay for them myself.
The bold surprise? No, sorry.
You can't buy that, as far as I know.
As far as you
If
know.
you can, let me know how much it costs, and I will go and buy it.
It's a lot of bribery, I'm sure.
I'm not saying a word.
Maybe. I'm not opposed to that if I can get a Pulitzer under my belt. But anyway, first off I would love a canvas print of all my covers
Oh, that would be cool.
to hang on my wall. That would just
Yeah.
be gorgeous. It'd be a painting looking like thing.
Sam's
Are
trying
you
to
thinking
hook you up
something
with
really
that.
big?
I would love it to be big. If you could take up most of the wall, I would be all for that. I am that vain.
But where would you put the others?
No. I want all my covers. So either
That's
it's going
what
to
I
be
mean. It can't
just
be too
big
big.
enough for the one, and then I can do it, or just do the trilogy as one. That would be fun. I am also a fan of the pillows. They have throw blankets that you can make of your book covers, or perhaps maybe even an airship a la illustrated by our friend here, Jennifer Stolzer.
Buying art for people is also nice.
Yeah, it is very nice.
It really is nice.
But there's all kinds of things like mugs and stuff like that you can get. Vistaprint, Zazzle, Redbubble. Check them out. They're awesome.
Cafe Press.
Cafe
as well.
Press.
Yeah.
Sam's Club, printing on canvas.
For
We'll
those of
print
us,
you on canvas.
for those of us with less wall space, a man at Comic-Con who is an art dealer, so he had reason to say this, suggested getting a picture frame that's about the size of prints, the prints that you generally buy that size, and then switching out the pictures in it depending on, when it was your mood, when you got more. So that could be interesting to have on your wall for whatever book you're currently writing or the one that is coming out. Mm-hmm. Especially if you're like me and you get to a point during edits where you're like, please don't make me look at you again. Mm-hmm. Like, we're done. I so want to be working on something else right now. Mm-hmm. Can you just be done? But on the subject of art, Jen, what is that bag that you have?
I've got a it's a tote bag.
A throw bag.
It's a throw bag. It's a tote bag from Snap Totes that one of my dearest friends in the world helped me buy for a present. She got me a Groupon to Snap Totes that I could make a two-sided graphic tote bag, and it's got concept art from Threadcaster on it, and I carry it to keep it on my mind while I'm out doing errands and chores and stuff.
Yay.
So you can combine things like art and things like pillows and mugs and tote bags, all practical accessories for a writer, but...
Keep in mind, though, you can't just print other people's artwork on stuff.
No. You
Yeah,
gotta
Buy the
careful.
stuff from the
You must
person who
own
made
the
the art.
art.
Or get permission from the person who made the art, because sometimes you can write up just an intent form.
You should be able to do your cover.
Your cover should be free game.
Yes.
You don't have to. You can print
Depending
your cover.
upon what your relationship is with the contract is with your publisher, you should be able to do that with your art because it falls under promotion.
Well, I am not a contract lawyer and cannot give legal advice because I'm paralegal, and thus, if you wish to seek legal advice, seek a lawyer's advice, not mine. I do not want to end up in jail. That is my
You should
disclaimer.
just pre-tape that and then just slip it
I
in whenever
really
you
need you. I need you for so many things. But as the lawyers will say, as contract lawyers will say, read the good contract. It's there for a reason. But another thing you can do, if you've got the authority to do your book jackets, your book art, and you don't have a space like what Kathleen was saying, there are those digital picture frames.
Yes.
Where the picture's constantly changing.
It's called the background of my computer.
Okay,
Background screen of my computer.
that too. And I do have some things once we get back out to other authors, but I'll go Brad and then
What you're
George.
talking about? So my wonderful wife took the concept art from Star Wars. I bought the concept art from Phantom Menace, and they came in these cool things. And I have 6 frames that hang on my wall, and I can change out the concept art to all 6 of those frames to whatever I want. It is a wonderful, wonderful thing, and it's very cool. And I'm a huge fan of concept art, so yes, I highly recommend doing that. And I might have a couple of framed copies of, say, an airship or something like that.
Just a quick note. Also, if you want to, if you want to help out your writer friend, and you don't have you don't see know what exactly they want for their home and everything. Just gift cards to Cafe Press, Zazzle, things of that nature, like the Groupon that Jen got and everything. Mm-hmm. Those things are just as valuable. And they won't, it won't cause you the sort of headache to wonder, whether or not you have the rights to those certain things.
I wanna note that when Kathleen gave me that Groupon, she gave it to me and she said, "This is so you can make a Threadcaster bag," explicitly.
That's awesome.
I already had all the art already drawn because, as I've mentioned before on this radio show, drawing the concept artwork is a way that I brainstorm. So I already had all this fan art for my own thing that I had drawn, and so. When I got the coupon to make the bag, I already had what I wanted picked out, and I just put it on there and ordered it.
I'd like to talk about different types of gifts.
Perfect.
We mentioned initially, I mentioned initially, there are the more things that you buy for someone or that you give money toward, so financial things that cost money, and then there's the emotional support and the, giving your writer the psychological space to do their work. But the gifts that we mentioned so far seem to fall into a couple categories. There's gifts that help with the act of writing, like the physical act of writing. And then there are gifts that help with the more inspirational side of writing. So, like, for the act of writing, there would be pens. For me, it would be fountain pens and inks. They're the best things ever. Or computer programs, or, a keyboard that's ergonomically friendly.
Or a tote bag to carry around your writing supplies.
Yeah. And then there are other things like an Amazon gift card because they like reading, or a gift card to whatever publisher they really like the work from, or, fun pillows that make you think of the story that you're currently writing, that you can see it throughout the day and just feel inspired. Am I missing a category?
Yeah, that's all right. Well, so far that you tossed out, no.
Oh, okay.
You've hit them all, sorry.
Am I missing a category? Yes. And then no further.
Well, okay, I was going to let us go, but we haven't gone on to, but here's the other categories. Categories for writer rejuvenation. And what I mean by that is, for example, me personally, maybe a getaway out of St. Louis. In my case, we are about to take one, and that is going to to a favorite bed and breakfast of ours.
We've actually already gone. You know.
Well, yeah, by the time this airs, we will have gone. Sorry, I'm living in the current day, not future day.
Their time powers are mind-boggling.
Yes, but and it's a great writing getaway as well.
Which, by the way, there's a retreat in Ireland. If anyone would like to get it to me, it's a castle in Ireland.
Same thing here.
I want to go to that.
Or a castle in Scotland.
And the tree houses that are in.
Yeah.
Sorry, go on.
That's okay. There's also here in St. Louis. This is something which I've been trying recently to clear my mind, and it's called float. It is It's also good for you anyway. But it is, you lay in a bathtub with hot water, and it's about 93 some odd degrees. And it's literally 800 pounds of Epsom salt in the water, so you're not going to sink. You are deprived of all sensation except for music that's coming in, and you can tell them you want the music for the entire time, or the music eventually shuts off until it's time to quote unquote wake back up in case you fall asleep. Then the music comes in again to wake you up. But great if you're into meditation or you're into clearing your mind like that. It's a great way to do that, and it's only like $65 for an hour. No, 90 minutes afloat.
Wow.
So they've got 2 locations here in St. Louis, and those other locations around the country, and it's something to look at. Fedora, then.
I think the most obvious thing to get a writer is books about writing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's start with a couple of my favorite. Chicago Manual of Style, which is what I'm really close to all probably of the publishers in the United States use as the standard.
Yep.
And you can get it online, or you can get a huge tome, and it's not cheap, but believe me, it is really worthwhile, because if you dig, your questions will be answered about formatting. Geez,
Fomenting is what the
fomenting
amateurs
too,
do.
yeah. I needed a lot of fomenting myself. Maybe it wasn't so bad. Anyway, that's one. Webster's Third International is another one that I especially like, because it has the dates in which certain words came into the language.
Yeah.
And since I write historicals, that is a very important thing to use. And a lot of times I get called on it, that people think, oh, this word wasn't around then, and I can say, oh yeah, it really was. So that is another excellent one that I like. And I've talked about Save the Cat before, which I think gives you some very good basic advice. And there are tons and tons of others. Another one of my favorites is Poisons for Writers, of course.
I love that one.
You know, that's a great book. So depending upon your particular field, you can find a lot of books that are specific to writers, specific to decades and time periods, that are invaluable to the writer, depending upon your own particular niche.
To segue in there, and I'll turn it over to George next. Along with these books on writing that Fedora mentioned before, the magazines, especially Writer's Digest, the Writer,
Subscriptions to
subscriptions to the Writer's Digest, the Writer, Poets and Writers. Depending on what your friend is into, what they write, there might be a magazine better for them that way. That's a great gift. Give them a year subscription or 2.
To add on to what Fedora said, several years back, my mother had gotten me for Christmas, the big Writer's Digest book. During the time when I was really kind of pushing to see where I can submit my work and everything. She had gotten books like that. She had gotten a couple other how-to books to really kind of get my mind going. And just last year, my wife got me for my birthday a bunch of journals that were just terrific. That still, I'm still using to this day, and I've been able to separate them and everything, saying like, okay, this one's for my writing, this one's for promotion, this one is for the dance club that I'm in, this one's for, all these different, this is for like the voiceover work, like all these different things. And, those sorts of ideas, everything, like those sort of gifts, they really go a long way for us. Just to, let you guys know, they are so much appreciated because they provide the sort of validation for what it is that we're all trying to do.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I was going to say, Writer's Market also has an online database now.
Mm-hmm.
And a subscription to that for a year would be very valuable for someone who's thinking about submitting their work.
Uh-huh.
Not only is it kept up to date
It's costly.
and has a lot of information on it, it is kind of expensive for a writer to do.
Yeah.
And also, if you've done this thing for them, they will probably be more likely to send work out because you have done this thing for them. And guilt is a great motivator, especially for people like me.
I'm still not touching that last part. But go ahead.
Well, to kind of add on to what George was saying, you can always get me a moleskin. I will take a moleskin any day of the week, any time of the year. I have too many of them, and I love them all. But what I was going to say is that...
Oh, would you please define what a moleskin is?
Oh, it's a small notebook.
It's a skinned animal, and you
Yeah.
stretch it.
It is the skin of a mole.
And now we got PETA coming after us.
Yes. No. A moleskin is a
Spoken like a
type
group of
of
writers.
small notebook. They're in all various colors now, but the classic black is my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them are lined, some of them aren't lined. They come in different sizes, and they got the cool band around them, so they'll stay closed. You got a cool pocket in the back. Good stuff.
Speaking of history of words, I wonder how they got to be called moleskins.
Yes. Well, we're not going to go into that. That's another show.
It was originally
Yes.
parchment of moleskin.
Yeah,
Exactly.
My answer.
Yes.
But the other one that I was going to
Sorry,
throw
sorry,
out
sorry.
is that, we're talking about all these different, things that you can buy for a writer.
Uh-huh.
And one of them would be membership into different groups. We've got Missouri Writers Guild represented here. We've got Sisters in Crime represented here. We've got Singless Writers Guild. A couple of us are in SCBWI.
Romance Writers of America.
I'm in
Romance Writers of America.
Pacific Northwest Writers Association, etc.
Sci-Fi Writers of America.
Western Writers of America.
Western Writers of America.
That one.
Obviously
name
there
the whole
are
rest of the episode.
hundreds of these different groups that we all should be a part of and everything like that. And one of the reasons I throw this out is they themselves are wonderful resources for writers. So if you know a struggling writer, getting them into a guild like Singless Writers Guild is a great way of helping them learn where they need to take the next step. If they're a professional writer, something like Missouri Writers Guild can be a really wonderful opportunity for them. It's got a lot of avenues they can walk down. So, they all have a yearly fee, varies by them, but it can be a great way of kind of encouraging a writer.
How well the writer can make a lot of difference. I don't know about whether you go to book fairs and, the places where they bring all kinds of unwanted books just for fun, because I do. But it's a wonderful place to troll, especially for historical writers. I have gotten two of my absolute favorite things that way. One is a book on Missouri history, which was written in 1897, and it was Missouri history from the beginning of the state until 1897. And that was just perfect for my era. Another was a two-set volume of encyclopedia, only 2 sets, from the 1930s, and that too is wonderful. So if you know your writers well, and you come across a book which is some particular area of science. Let's say that they are in love with plants. An historical book on plants, a scientific book on plants could be the very thing that they want. So don't overlook those avenues for yourself or for others either. If you find the right book, hey, buy it.
I love that too.
But you have to
because-
really know them because they might already have a copy of it.
Even if
But
they do,
Then they have a
they'll love
lending
it.
copy.
Yes,
They'll
and they
love
have a
it.
lending copy, or who knows?
Yeah.
I'll take 2 copies of a book if it's a book I really love, especially if it's an old book I love. Because
They're hard to come by.
Exactly. So I was also going to throw out there just books in general. Most of us are voracious readers. My book buying habit is, more than I would like to spend generally in a year on books. So, having that ability to get books that way, especially if
And
they're
they're
from...
cheaper.
Yes, and especially if they're from, some of my favorite authors or my friends. So that can be a wonderful way of doing it.
Going on practical for a moment. Nobody's mentioned anything about it. We have talked about gift cards to Amazon, so I'll just throw that out there. But we haven't talked about any gift cards to like Office Max / Office Depot. I know they're now one company. Or Staples or anything else where we get a lot of running
Same
supplies.
company now.
Or your favorite
Staples
coffee
included?
house.
I was going there. Or your favorite, or not yours, their favorite coffee house.
Yes.
And
I was pointing
or
at you when I said that.
okay, yes, I know. When you poke me and I'm bleeding, it's not blood that's coming out; it's coffee. And that's probably not much of a joke, actually. Or their favorite spirits, if they're drinkers, wine, scotch, and vodka. That's my list. Anyway, that's it. Brad, you had.
Well,
yours?
real quick to throw out there. So I always celebrate with a bottle of something. Not an entire bottle, but
Oh no, Brad. It's an entire bottle.
I
We
wish.
know.
It'll end up being an entire bottle, but not that first night.
Baby steps.
But anyway, that can be a great thing to get a bottle of something if you know your writer well. Like for me, it would be a bottle of scotch, and hand it to them and say, "When you're done, celebrate." It's a fun way of doing it, and it can be exciting. Battle of Champagne does the same thing.
Experience gifts are great too.
Yes.
That's like
I'm-
one of my getaways. But
Yeah, exactly. I'm an introvert, but it's nice to go do things and not be alone. So there's something that I'd love to do, even though it scares the heck out of me, but I would want someone with me. They have, I forgot where it was. They have safaris where you're basically in a cage and all the animals are roaming around. And that sounds fascinating to me. Like, I could learn so much about my own reactions with a lion standing pretty much a foot or two above my head, stuck in a cage, as I am going to be. And, getting people to go do stuff like that with you is good. Like, getting people to go experience things they wouldn't necessarily experience on their own is good. Escape rooms are great fun, and they're kind of help you figure out how someone trying to solve a mystery would think.
There's also I don't know all the different names in other cities. There's in St. Louis, I think it's called the Challenger program, where they do, it's a lot of it's for kids, but they also do adult adventures, going to Mars, simulations of going to Mars, simulation of going up into space, etc. It's supposed to be good team building, but hey, if you've got a sci-fi writer in the family, you love a sci-fi writer, what better gift can you give?
To add on to what David and Brad said before about coffee or spirits, just remember that we're not all the typical cliche coffee drinking writer. I know I am, but
Drinking writer.
but at the same time, some of them drink tea.
Yes.
So
Yeah, box of tea.
keep in mind what what your favorite author drinks or does not drink, or in some cases cannot drink. Just make keep that all well in mind. But another fun gift to really kind of throw out there, which is something that's been touched upon and everything, is apparel. In some way, shape, or form. It doesn't have to be a Cafe Press thing of your writer's logo, like of your book or anything. Although that's always fun. I've worn my own book, like many times myself. But just so like those fun writer T-shirts or hats or something, like something along those lines. those are always fun. One of my favorite shirts that I've ever had was a T-shirt that my aunt got me that said just very plainly, "Careful, or you'll end up in my novel." Mm-hmm. And I've worn that so many times that it has so many holes in it right now that I cannot wear it outside the house again. So I need a new one. But I'm always kind of keeping an eye out for another kind like that.
I'm a huge fan of the out of print tees that you can pick up at Main Street Books.
Yeah.
But yeah, and they're book covers that are they're all out of print now, and you can get T-shirts of them, and I own way too many of them.
Yeah, I own quite a few too.
One of Angie Fox's favorite gifts ever was a T-shirt that a fan sent her.
Oh yeah.
Which had on it a line from her book, and the line was "Kiss my asphalt."
Yes,
I wear it all the time, and it is awesome.
If you're a fan of hers, or you're the fan that gave it to her, we have all of us who know Angie have seen it at least once, if not multiple times.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Out there. And that's actually something too. If you're a fan of a writer and you know you're going to see them, they're, something from their book is something great.
They'd be immensely flattered.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. Most of the time.
Yeah, just don't do something stalkery.
Yeah, pick the right line.
Some other gifts, unless anyone else has got anything yet. Throwing out real fast. What about stuff like a space pen? Has anyone ever seen these things?
What is a space pen?
It's
A
a pen
space-
that writes upside down.
Yeah,
Yes.
and underwater. You can write anywhere with this thing.
You know the joke about the space pen, right?
No, what's the joke?
They spent so much money at NASA developing a pen that can write to zero G, and the Russians brought a pencil.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. The only problem with the pencil is you gotta shave it down. But yeah.
Writes to zero G though.
Where's that shaving? Never mind.
Of course, you could get a mechanical pencil. Best
Yes.
of both worlds.
I like mechanical pencils a lot.
Any other
What about
gift?
the space pen? Like,
Oh, I used to have one. I don't
did it
know.
write well?
Yeah, it did.
Yes. It's small, and it's
Yeah, when you put it back
Let me-
together, it becomes a small capsule. About,
Yeah.
well, I'm showing Kathleen is about 2-3 inches.
See, I love writing with fountain pens. It's so smooth. I can write for hours at a time and not have my hand cramp up. Could the space pen rival that? Like,
No.
I can
I
see
don't
it for
think so.
note taking. There was an online article suggesting gifts for writers, and one of the things it suggested was, I guess, that pen that can, write upside down. You could put it by your bed so you could write at night, or, with your notebook above you, trying to write down
Or
notes.
just at 90 degrees.
Yeah.
Well, I have an idea for something that, for people maybe who don't want to spend a lot of money or don't have a lot of money to spend, and that is to make an offer of some work that would keep your writer writing while the work gets done.
Yes.
Whether it's washing windows, raking the yard, or
If you would like
whatever
to cut
you
my
might be
grass
able to
for
do.
free, I'd be down with that.
That would be a great gift, wouldn't it? Boy, I would love that kind of thing.
I would love for someone to transcribe the stuff in my notebooks that I don't want to bother typing.
There you go.
Like, I hate transcribing. I hate
Sure.
it so much. I understand that some people will edit as they transcribe. I'm like, no, that is too much. It needs to be there on the computer so I can mess with it, or I have to type it, don't I?
Yeah.
Why do I have to type it? I could be doing anything else right now. That's when doing the dishes sounds really fun for me.
But can anybody else read your handwriting?
Yes. I like
like
writing
it.
letters to people.
So, we have a friend who is a lawyer and an author and a gentleman, but
And a scholar.
Well,
His scholar.
lawyers don't.
he actually has a secretary. His as a
yeah.
lawyer, his secretary, he hands her all of his notes. And I'm not going to go into depth on this because it's an intensity level, but she transcribes everything for him. And she actually categorizes it and puts it into all kinds of cool stuff like that. So you
Can I
need
have
a
one of
secretary.
those?
Yes, you
I
An
would love-
assistant. We could all use a
I could use an assistant.
Neil Gaiman has an assistant named Lorraine, I think is her name. I want a Lorraine. I would love that. Like, she
Yes.
could keep my life in order, kick my butt into doing things I wanted to do, but totally
You
distracted
need
right
to
now.
find the right wife. That's what you need to do.
You're right. I need a wife.
I
do
Okay,
feel
and
bad.
I'm trying to look completely.
I would like to throw out that I have a wife, and that is not happening.
I was gonna say.
the right wife.
I was gonna say, like, I do
Wrong
feel
one.
bad about that whole gender role thing going on that we all just did. Like,
No, I actually was doing that intentionally because I didn't figure you'd want the right husband.
no, a
Well,
husband wouldn't
husband's
do
never
that.
gonna transfer.
And that was also.
See, we all jumped on the gender role thing, but really the fact was that we knew that the husband wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Hey,
No.
whoever wants me for a wife isn't getting me to transcribe.
Well, there you go, guys. Okay. Real quick, you made me think about this, and I'm going to flip something on its ear for just a second and let you guys flip it back. And that is getting the wrong gift for a writer. Right
wrong
now,
wife?
by now, there's various. You made me think of this because we said transcribe. There are various transcription software that's out there where you can talk and it writes for you. It can be a great gift. Don't get me wrong when I'm saying this, but know your writer, as Fedora was saying a little while ago, because some writers can't write and talk or can't dictate the stories. Others can. Sheldon.
Yeah?
Anyway, there's an author in my mind, Sidney
I
Sheldon.
thought you were going for Big Bang.
No, I wasn't. Sorry,
Sheldon,
Sidney
like,
Sheldon.
why are we talking about this?
Sidney Sheldon used to dictate all of his books. He dictated it to a secretary
Yes.
who wrote the book, who transcribed it. So, yes, that can happen. But if it's, I'm talking about Dragon and other ones, I'll admit to which one, and I have Dragon. And it works well, except for when I'm writing my first draft. I can't do that. So, just FYI, know your writers. One of you two.
Okay. So I'm currently looking at a list of different things, and I wanted to throw a few of them out. So one of the ones we haven't yet mentioned, we kind of mentioned, was something like a massage or a day at the spa.
Writers
Or-
always hunch.
Yes.
No.
But
Physical
one of the ones I
therapists.
like is, so they have giving the writer the gift of their words, and we kind of talked about that. But you can now get like pictures that are actually made up of the words of your book, chapters, or they now have the shirts that have the entire book printed on them. Something cool you could do. But this one I found actually really interesting. And it's giving the gift the writer of your words. So if it's your significant other, if you guys have a saying or you have something between the two of you that you use, get that, framed or whatever in some way so that they can have it in their writing space to think of you if they need to.
Winter is coming.
Yeah.
Yes. Just kind of an interesting one. They also threw out the gift of consulting with a literary agent. We didn't touch that one, but that one was kind of intriguing.
Or a lawyer, too. I suppose
Yeah, seriously.
A
Or an
handcrafted
accountant.
series of autoresponders.
intellectual
Or
property.
email autoresponders. So, you can tailor their email to say something every time they get a thing. And then, the fancy pen and pad sets. And this one I thought was interesting too. Giving them certain types of apps for their phone or for whatever device they're currently using. We mentioned a few, but
Scrivener. The
Yeah.
gift of Scrivener.
yeah,
Scrivener's a good one.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Or the gift
Scrivener's
of freedom.
free, and then you get paid version.
Freedom is
Uh,
also wonderful.
the
It'll
gift
get you off
of
the internet.
noise canceling
Oh.
headphones.
Yes.
Mm.
Oh god, yes.
And also something to throw in there regarding the noise canceling headphones, something that you will be filling your ears with while wearing the noise canceling headphones, which would be music.
Yes.
So getting getting an iTunes gift card to allow you to get more inspiration. If you're an inspiration hoarder like I am, that has just tons of different film scores in my collection, then getting there's never enough. There's always going to be something else that we're going to hear that's going to inspire a new scene or a new story.
Right.
That made me think about subscription services, we've mentioned Writer's Market, and you can store your music in the cloud if you so choose. But you have to pay for that. So the ability to have access to your music wherever you have internet would be nice. Another thing that is wonderful for me, or writers who do similar things, is having subscriptions to Dropbox or to Evernote premium services.
Evernote's great.
Those are things that you can use.
Spotify.
And Spotify, yeah, that was another one that was mentioned.
Plaintive. Oh, please, Spotify.
Things that you use to back up your work, to write your work, to help you in the writing process. Those are all great things.
Professional photo shoot.
Oh,
Yes.
You
goodness.
really need
Yeah.
good headshots because they're going to want them wherever you are.
Or
whatever
if you're
you
good at
go to.
photography, take the author out into a park
And shoot
or
them.
around town and shoot them.
If you're
Sorry.
good.
With your camera.
Good ad.
Thank you, lawyer.
You know what a great
Now,
present
there you
for
go.
a
Now
writer
I
is?
can get law advice.
The greatest present for a writer is to put them out of their misery now.
The other one I throw out is food. And by food, I mean, to maybe take them out to a restaurant and give them dinner. Because most likely they've been writing all day, or
You
if
mean
they have been
starving?
writing all day.
Starving all day?
Yes.
Starving artists?
Exactly. The starving artists, take them out for food.
I'm
Give them
so-
a vegetable for a change.
Yeah, you could make a little care basket for them. Pack them some coffee, some.
That sounds like the cutest thing ever. Like you could put
With, like,
in some
little
tea
snacks and
some
stuff like that,
coffee
you know,
and
so that they
snacks
can-
and like adorable bookmarks and art and like, oh yay, and a card.
Be
Because
sure to
cards.
fill it with puns. Writers love
Yes.
puns.
And art.
And
Somebody
chocolate.
sent me art once. Somebody sent me gorgeous art once that was great. And somebody else who is amazing and knows that I love prompts. Sorry, I carjacked this.
Yeah, you did. That's okay.
As I do on the streets. So my friend sent me a bunch of note cards, but she had written prompts on them and decorated them and put stickers and illustrations. They're a beautiful set of cards, and they're right up my alley. They're the kind of prompts that I love, but they're all different kinds. So there's photos, there's like finish this sentence, there's write a story about this. It was so thoughtful, and I love it, and I have them, and I know exactly where they are in my house right now by my writing desk. So, things that are personal are also great, and that are tailored to them. Wonderful gifts.
If you live with your writer and they are working on deadline or whatever, there's also something else you can do. People, I know romantically, you like to have breakfast in bed. Bring them food to their working desk while they're writing, so they don't have to get up.
You act like they're going to get up at all.
Some
of us don't get up.
No, I know. But I'm saying this is why. Because they're not going to get up.
On the
They're going
other
to forget to
hand,
eat.
if the keep out sign is there, they might have a thought that they don't want to lose. So.
Well, be quiet
No,
or else they'll
you
chase
just
you around
open the door.
hotel with a baseball bat.
Right,
If you open the door and they hiss, maybe step back.
You open the door, bring the tray in, leave it there, walk back out, no words are said, close the door. Now, however, if you don't live with this author friend that I'm talking about, that might be breaking and entering and stalking. Go ahead.
Well, I want to go back to something that Kathleen said. She said it very early, and she said it more recently. And it was about, once again, for those of us who are in poverty, there are things that one can do that nonetheless are even more thoughtful and perhaps more valuable than any kind of gift that costs money. And you were talking about the writing prompts. Well, anything can happen. When I lost my husband some years ago, Susan McBride, who's a wonderful friend of mine, gave me a little box shaped like a heart, and in it were, I don't know what to call them except affirmations about the future. And it was a delightful thing. Really, I appreciated it. And I think that whether it's that kind of thing or prompts or whatever, if you are really thoughtful, you can fill a little box with some kinds of thoughts that your friend, your writer friend would appreciate.
That would be wonderful for, like, every writer has that, in NaNoWriMo, it's the week 3, pit of despair. for writing your novel. But every writer, I think, goes through points where we're like, I can't. Everything is horrible and awful. Everything I write is trash. Like, it would be wonderful to have things like that, just in support of their ability as a writer and in support of them as a person, to be able to refer back to
Yes,
every so
goals
often.
and affirmations.
Yeah.
There are lots of possibilities there, I think.
Oh,
As someone who takes up permanent residence in that pit of despair, especially for the past few years and everything, just trying to finish this book that just keeps getting more and more
I threw you a
complex
rope,
and
don't worry,
everything.
you
Like
hang
it's
yourself with it.
it's
so dark today.
it's definitely something that is really appreciated for any author. Like the affirmations. I mean, that's a beautiful gift, and that's something that is something that we all want to hear, that everything's going to be fine. Like what you're doing is worth it, and that really means the world to us, to know that what we're doing, just creating something out of nothing. That's what we're all doing, and knowing that someone else is out there just saying that I appreciate what you're doing. I haven't read it yet, but I appreciate what you're doing. It may be awful, but I still appreciate, in my eyes, but I appreciate what you're doing. Just knowing that they are putting themselves out there to let you know that they're in your corner. That's really what means the world to me.
It could be just as simple as some quotes by writers that are your writer's favorite writers.
Yeah.
That
A
goes
bunch of quotes. It would be wonderful.
One of you two.
That goes to the emotional support that we mentioned earlier.
We're pointing at each other, so what did you choose?
I was going to bring up Patreon. I know not a whole lot of writers use Patreon yet.
What is Patreon?
Patreon is like a subscription service to an individual person or company. So it's kind of like having an all the time forever Indiegogo or Kickstarter.
Okay.
And yet monthly, you subscribe per monthly, like the amounts that they allow you, as little as $1 or $2, or as much as 10 or even more if you're feeling very generous. I think you can donate either one sum or in installments, but it's expected for the person that you're subscribing to, like let's say that it's a musician. You're Patreoning a musician, that they're going to give you a little bit of insight into their process, or maybe share an exclusive demo or test with their patrons that the general public wouldn't be able to get, and they do it all through the Patreon website.
It's a great way to keep up accountability too. If you own that Patreon site, then you're like, okay, these people are paying me. I got to keep on producing product for them to look at, to make it worth their while.
But it has allowed some writers to write more. I'm not sure full-time necessarily, depends on the writer, but it does allow them more writing time and less, day job that is taking from their
And
writing.
they can
More
take
freedom,
fewer
yeah.
shifts at Walmart because they're getting a little supplemental income.
Yeah.
Interesting. Thank you for telling me, because I didn't know about this.
Yeah, need to send him the website.
I will do that.
All right, to flip this away from the altruistic stuff that we've been talking to, and more to the materialistic side.
Here's
Materialistic man.
Thank you, Brad.
Yeah, the holidays are coming up, and these are too much fun not to throw out. So, not that we're ending anytime in the near future, but I'm going to throw a bunch of these out. So there's Writer's Tears, which is Irish whiskey. There's the procrastination pen. There is the knife block made of books.
What's the procrastination?
Yeah.
Well, you can't just throw that out there.
Does it just not-
It is a pen that is for procrastination. I
What
can't
is it?
tell
It
you
doesn't
the-
write
What is it?
until
Does it not
later.
write?
What?
Yeah.
What is it?
Makes no sense.
You write it on the paper and it doesn't start writing until tomorrow. Like what's the?
Time delay.
That would
Go
be
from there.
awesome. You could send so many notes, secret notes to people like that. Like, oh, wait. I thought we were good. You did what to my room last night? Oh, secret agents would
Perhaps
love
it is
that pen.
invisible ink, yes. There is the new book candle, the Harry Potter wand pen set, a typewriter, which I'm a big, huge fan of. I would love a typewriter. You can also get the typewriter USB keyboard for your computer.
There you go.
Which you can glue gears on and then
Yes.
everything's okay.
Exactly. There is an embosser for your own library, so it's a personal embosser for embossing your books. There are bookshelves, like cool little like book stands and stuff like that.
Wait, let me pause you for just a second. By the way, without going expensive bookshelves, if your friend is a writer, they likely have their own personal library in their house, as Brad's indicating. They're always probably looking for new bookshelves if they've got room for them. That's always something. Go ahead.
You can replace the keys of their keyboard with bamboo keys.
Yeah.
Preferably secretly without warning.
Yes, that would be awesome.
Dude, you know what I want? Speaking of bamboo keys and keyboards, there is a keyboard that is like ergonomic and that you can sit and basically have your thumbs pointing up doing the typing. And you can rearrange all the keys. You can put all the keys anywhere on the keyboard. So you could try different sets of keyboard formats, like not just the 30 that we have.
They
But
say if you really feel like blowing your own mind, relearning how to type.
no,
I was having nightmares, but that's
No,
cool.
You're
like-
giving me a migraine just talking about this thing.
no, this excites me because the QWERTY keyboard, which is for the alignment of home row, basically, your whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway,
It's an English language standard.
yes,
keyboard.
it's the standard keyboard, but it was created for typewriters to slow down their typing because typewriting is precision, and you can't just hit
Well,
backspace.
they didn't want it to jam. They didn't want
They
the
didn't want
keys to
jamming.
jam, so they wanted keys that were pressed together, not to be pressed next to each other too often.
So they
Unlike
needed to
Tiny
s-
me, who enjoyed jamming all of the typewriters in my house by going over there and slamming my hands on every key at the same time so they'd all meet in the middle and get stuck.
I'm glad I wasn't the only one doing
So
that.
basically, it's designed to make you type slower, and for some of us, that's not helpful because our brains are like a sentence past where we are on the keyboard. So I think it would be fun to get a keyboard like that and test
And no
out
one else
different
could
styles.
use it.
Well, they could
Well, it's not their
rearrange
business,
all the
they shouldn't be
keys.
using
They
it.
could rearrange all the keys if they really wanted, and then put them right back where I put them in the
I was
first
gonna
place.
say,
That was my
they're
keyboard.
gonna rearrange all the keys, preferably secretly and without warning.
I'll rearrange some faces if that's what happens. I'm actually not a violent person,
She
but I
has not
talk a
known
lot
that.
like I am.
It will happen without warning, though. Not,
Yeah.
not so much secretly.
The face rearranging or
Yeah.
the keyboard
The
part?
face rearranging.
Give us back to Brad.
No one
There's no
expects a
secret to
punch
that.
to the
There's no
face.
secret to that
But
one.
before I do, I forgot one. We mentioned earlier about special getaways, special experiences. If you go to D.C., Washington, D.C., there's the International Spy Museum. That
Yes.
alone, it can, well, I was a kid in a candy shop. That's supposed to be a 2-hour event. I spent 8. But
Wow.
they also have in D.C., I'm trying to think if it's through them or not, a spy adventure going around the city. So, that's a getaway. Go ahead.
Yes, but be careful if there's a
Be
Russian.
careful of the real ones.
There are the Aqua Notes, which is a notepad for your shower.
Mm-hmm.
There are the Scrabble magnets, so they can spend a multitude of hours at your kitchen fridge writing. I will fully admit that my fridge occasionally will have very interesting things. You can buy them a pin that says "Writing is sexy." There are a multitude of mugs. I'm also a big fan of the cool leather-bound journals, cool fountain pens, as we described earlier. There are shower curtains that can be written on.
But wouldn't it be better if you could write on the wall of your shower? Because curtains move.
You can already do that. You can buy those little kid shower bathtub crayons.
Wait, what?
Put them on the wall.
Tell me of this thing.
Little kids have been using these as bathtub toys for like generations.
I'm sorry, I haven't had kids then. What?
generations. They're younger than I am.
Then
yeah,
they wash off, of course.
they wash off, but you can write. They stick to the walls though.
They're crayons?
Yeah.
Well,
they're
they're
not
special
crayons.
crayons. They're bath toys.
Are they
bath
called
toy
something?
crayons. I don't know. Google it.
I don't know. May I suggest a
Magic.
block of wood that says writer's block?
Because
No.
writers love puns, especially puns they then have to store in their house.
I'm also a big fan of the book cufflinks, or the Scrabble piece cufflinks that an agent was wearing once that I thought were really awesome.
Let me pause for
Get
let me
those
pause
in
for a
our
second. If you're a mystery writer out there, I'm assuming you can find this on Amazon or eBay or someplace like that. I do know they exist because I had them somewhere and I can't find them.
But the Sherlock Holmes Museum in London, B221B Baker Street, where's where you at, have Sherlock Holmes cufflinks.
And you can get jewelry too. I mean,
Yes.
I have a charm bracelet, which is a mystery charm bracelet with all kinds of mystery
Yep.
charms on it.
You can get pendants and earrings. Here's one that says "More books, less sleep." They're earrings. You can get word dice. So I would imagine if you do have writer's block, you could just throw out the dice and there's a sentence.
Yeah.
I'm not
Or
gonna.
something like that. Something that might make a sentence.
There are prompt dice too. And there are
There are
sex
prompt
dice. But let's go with the
There are
prompt
sex
dice for
dice,
those of
it
us
is.
who aren't erotica writers.
Yes.
Those are pretty fun looking. They have all sorts of different pictures on them, and you roll the dice and you try and make a story based on whatever comes up.
This one actually seems to be like worthy a whiteboard.
Worthy?
Well, a lot of
Useful.
these have been kind of awkward. Like, I wouldn't block. This is writer's block. I don't know if that's actually something I want
What
to get.
use is that?
Like you mean like a dry
Like a
erase board?
whiteboard, yeah,
Like a big
dry erase
dry
board
erase
is
board.
useful.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
Oh,
seems actually
If
useful.
you actually, speaking of if you
Like
live with a
corkboard?
writer, you know something a writer actually might appreciate if you would actually probably need to consult with them. But there's something called chalkboard paint.
Yes.
So you can actually turn
Yes,
a wall into
turn
your
a
house
wall into an entire
into a
chalkboard.
big chalkboard.
There's also
That's
ways-
saying that's on our. That's not saying that's actually on our to-do list at some point. Go ahead.
That
Sorry, I cut
my
that off.
cousin actually did that to an entire wall of her house for her kids.
No, my
Brilliant.
sister has a whiteboard wall that she painted in her room that you can use whiteboard markers on. and
Interesting.
erase.
I have
And
a
a
friend that
corkboard is good too. I know a lot of my romance writer friends use corkboards, and they put
Yep.
pictures up with push pins and
For
stuff.
those, for people who don't know what a corkboard is, it's real life Pinterest.
It's Pin- it was Pinterest.
That was beautiful.
That was Pinterest before Pinterest was cool.
Yes.
So
Yes, yeah.
Perhaps you would like
Hipster
some
Pinterest.
pencil flags.
hipster Pinterest.
Those
That's
are
awesome.
adorable.
Yeah.
Oh, I was going to
Shoes.
say, speaking of whiteboard walls, I have a friend who, when she lived in Seattle, would use the window of her apartment as a whiteboard. And I'm looking at the windows here and thinking, you guys have a great whiteboard.
That's an
Yes.
idea.
Well, that's what.
Yeah, and you have a bush growing in front of it, so no one needs to.
I was going to
Is
say
that
that
what
would
they-
be interesting for your neighbors to read.
They can't see it.
couldn't read.
You
They
can
couldn't read
list the
bush.
causes of death in a big.
It's gonna be like Zuckerberg's algorithm. You know, just kind of
Yeah.
written on the window.
For Jen and Kathleen only, because you guys are the only ones there out of this group. Is anyone else having flashbacks to Wild
Yes.
Coffee that one
Uh-huh.
time? Yes.
That's a good one.
I heard
Can
so many
throw
wonderful
in-
stories about that. I really
Oh,
wish I would have been
it
able
was
to.
great.
It was a
You know,
I
at
wonderful.
least
wanna
once.
Throw out one more suggestion. One of the best gifts I ever got from my dear father was he bought me a gift card to Caldi's Coffee,
Mhm.
pretty much giving me permission to go ahead and go to Caldi's and work.
Yep.
Which, you know, before he would be the one to tell me, you're not suffering enough, go get another job.
Yes.
But he gave me permission to go to Caldi's and write when he gave me a gift card to buy coffee. So that was a nice gesture.
I need to throw a very big shout out to my wife Cheryl, because not only is she she got me those journals, she had gotten me this past birthday. She got me a bunch of shirts from $6 Tees, which are fantastic because I love shirts that don't have the logos directly on those, but you got to kind of figure out what they are. For the most part. I say that as I'm wearing my New York Giants T-shirt. But
It's on the obvious.
it's slightly obvious, but it's also red to kind of throw people off. So, but she did one of the most amazing things for me a couple of years ago. She decided she was going to, with her DIY mindset that she's got, which I really love. She built a desk for me.
Wow.
She figured out exactly how to take the 2 bookshelves that we already had in the office and everything, and basically put together a desk that would fit right between them, and it works great. You can lift it up and everything to lock it in place, and it's really just, when I saw that whole thing put together, it was just awesome. It was just awesome. And she's also a photographer, so if anyone is looking for headshots and everything,
No.
she's an ideal person. She's actually going to be at the Missouri Writers Guild conference, possibly. We're working out scheduling. So
Yeah, this was probably already mentioned, but yes, accompanying someone or getting someone ticket registration to a writing conference. It would be
Conferences
good.
can be very expensive,
They
so
can
even
be.
help
Yes.
toward a conference is a good.
You read my mind.
Or get a group of people together and
You can all split hotel fee.
Especially if your writer's talking about, oh, I wish I could go to that one because that agent I would love to pitch my book is at. Other things that you can do, just really fast, subscriptions. We
Subscription.
mentioned before, subscriptions to magazines, subscriptions to local play theaters. I say play theaters versus movie theaters. I want to break that out.
Play theaters.
I guess that's theater, but
Live
some people think
theater.
Live theater,
theater.
yeah.
I've been to.
Play theater sounds
Yeah.
like you're going to the play place at McDonald's.
Ugh.
It's like a kid's thing.
What's wrong with that?
I was gonna say that might not be a bad idea for
It's
some.
not a bad idea.
Depending on who you are, I wouldn't recommend going to the play place at McDonald's for your research.
Seriously. But
Symphony.
Live theaters. Thank you. The next one is symphony. If you've got a symphony in your city, anything that really will spark their creativity is something that you will want to give them. That's the important thing to writers, is getting ourselves out there. Does anyone have any final words? Like some kind of going.
I would also throw out important places. You know, like if there's a symposium going on that's really
Yes.
cool.
Mhm.
If there's that mega rally or something like that, that might be fun to take them to. The reason I throw that out is we writers, we thrive on experience.
Yes.
You know, so if there's something that an experience you can give a writer. I mean, heck, even just going to a gun range or, you know, maybe going and seeing something that, you know, is relevant to what they write.
Helping
you know,
them do the research by
Yeah.
going with them to that new place that
Exactly.
they've never been.
You know, or if you're writing about a city, you know, maybe taking a tour down through Old St. Louis or something like
or
that.
wherever, right?
Or wherever, you know, wherever your city is or
And
something like
if you
that.
want to give Brad or I a gift to go to Scotland to do research, we will love you.
I will write a book about Scotland if you send me there, yes.
And we'll include you. Okay.
Right. Well, I wanted to do my closing
Okay.
thought to share one of, I think, the most generous gifts to a writer in history, which is when Harper Lee's friends and relatives got together and gifted her an entire year's worth of wages so that she could stop working and write that novel. And the novel she wrote was To Kill a Mockingbird. So it was a gift to her and to all of us.
Wow.
A great American novel.
Yes. Any other final thoughts? In that case, friends of writers, you have some ideas for a gift giving season, whatever your religion is. You don't have to. We don't have to have
Or
special season.
birthdays.
That's what I was going to say.
Birthdays.
You don't have to have special occasions to give
Gifts for writers to give to other writers.
birthdays, or just the fact that they're in your life. And on that note, have a great week writing. Tune in next week for yet another interesting story in the writing industry.
I want a pony.
You want a pony?
No, I'm allergic.
Of course.
But pony would be a good gift.
What's
GatewayCon? What is GatewayCon? The Gateway to Publishing Conference and Convention, brought to you by St. Louis Writers Guild, is a new, unique experience for writers looking for their work to be either traditionally published, independently published, self-published, or to further their writing career. Coming in June 2017, GatewayCon will provide opportunities for writers to pitch their work to agents, hone their craft regardless if it is genre fiction or nonfiction, and obtain expert critiques. Get to meet vendors and experts who can help your writing get attention. And all writers get their work in front of their audience. Writers will get to network with agents, publishers, and others in your genre. Gateway to Publishing Conference and Convention will be in St. Louis, June 16th through the 18th, 2017. For more information, visit www.stlwritersguild.org or look for GatewayCon on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Tumblr. GatewayCon, opening the gateway for writers to reach their readers.
Did you know that Right Pack Radio has an international audience? How would you like to reach that audience in regards to your books, your book services, your author services, or more? Go to www.windingtrailsmedia.com and look under advertising for more information. If you don't have a script, that's not a problem. We will be happy to work with you. Once again, go to www.windingtrailsmedia.com for more information.
The new theme songs for Right Pack Radio were written and performed by Meredith Tate. All copyrights remain with her.